He was going for that title because I told him you only got to win 4 games, son, and you're going to win. He was on his way. What derailed that? Yeah. Tina had a stroke. You thinking she going to die? Your mind ain't even right. And then the way it was told to him, one of his cousins called Lonzo while he was at school and told him, your mom's about to die. Lonzo's manager right now had told him, he said, man, LaVar, he out here, he can't stop crying. Bring him to me and let me fix this thing. He didn't even want to play in the tournament. I said, son, go ahead. That's your mama, but that's my woman. I got her. You guys keep playing basketball. And I said, sometimes the Lord puts certain blocks in front of you to see if you're going to keep going. And that's what the boys were strong enough to believe in me, that I got your mom. Like I tell folks, I ain't sacrificed nothing for that. Investing in my boys instead of buying real estate, I'm going to invest millions of dollars in my sons. I said, man, I got 3 lotto tickets. I just ain't cashed them in yet. All my boys are millionaires. Now, if you do not give your kid a trade, send them to school. Give them some education because you're like, man, they ain't going to be the biggest, fastest. They ain't not going to play no sports. I got to get them a job or doing something. Now, here's the thing. I never was going to pay for college. So I don't have to save no money so I can buy BMWs and Cadillacs for my boys while they in high school. They was going to get scholarship before they even had, but I'm like, man, I'm not paying for no school. Yeah. But I'm like, they're going to make money playing sports. I already established that.
Okay, people, what's going on? So I don't know how many of you guys actively watch the NBA these days. I really can't be upset with you if you don't watch because the ratings are abysmal and for good reason. But beyond all of that, maybe you watch the NBA actively. Maybe you watch it passively. Maybe you just keep up with the stat lines, or maybe you just bet on parlay. Regardless to any of that, if you watch the NBA, if you have any NBA knowledge, you are familiar with the name LaVar Ball. Now, for those who are not familiar with the name LaVar Ball came on the scene around 2015, 2016, right around the time that LeBron James went back to the Cavs and he and Steph Curry were going back and forth for championships. Around that same time frame, LaVar Ball hopped on the scene with his reality TV show, Ball in the Family. LaVar Ball was essentially trying to get his sons into the NBA. This reality TV show basically chronicles his son's journey, and I guess his journey as well, from the AAU ranks in high school all the way up into the NBA. Now, LaVar Ball is a businessman. He's actually a former NFL football player. He didn't last too long in the NFL, and he may have been in the Canadian leagues or something like that. But regardless to that, he is a former professional athlete and a businessman. And he used this show, this reality TV show, to propel his sons in terms of their popularity, to push what we now know to be the Ball brand. That is the big baller brand. Now, outside of all of that, he also used the show as a catalyst to kind of boost his sons, their college draft stock or their college recruiting stock and their NBA draft stock. And this worked magnificently because his sons were actually really, really good on the basketball court. As you know, he has 2 sons in the NBA with a 3rd son that got drafted by the Pistons, but is, as far as I'm concerned, currently being blackballed because of an incident that happened in China where he went over there and he stole some shoes and, you know, a lot of hoo-ha, a lot of nonsense. But I personally believe it's a blackballing. Now, it is important to note that his son, LiAngelo, I do believe, who is being blackballed from the league currently, he did sign a $13 million music deal. I'm not sure who he signed that with, but I know he got $8 million up front. So all in all, LaVar has gotten 2 of his sons into the NBA actively. One of his sons is bouncing between the D League and a successful, somewhat successful music career. So it's sufficient to say that LaVar Ball is a bit of a character. But in totality, he is a pretty shrewd businessman. He knows what he's doing. He knows how to get attention. He knows how to get the attention on his kids. He put the attention on his kids, and his kids never dropped the ball, and they have all seen success. So regardless to how you look at this man, you cannot say that he doesn't love his kids, and you cannot say that he didn't know what he was doing. At the height of all of the Ball family success, his wife actually ended up having a stroke. Now, he actually went and took care of his wife. He's a good husband. He's a good father. It's very hard to find any real fault with this man outside of the fact that you might find him loud and obnoxious. He's just not the man that the media wants, but he is a good man, a good father, a good businessman, successful in pretty much every phase of life. I'm willing to bet that the kind of success that LaVar Ball has had as a man, as a father, as a husband, a businessman, nobody would scoff at that. And I think every man would want that. I think every man can agree that if you had sons, you would want to be able to put a plan in place and you want to be able to see that plan through to fruition. Now, it should be mentioned that LaVar's plan for his sons to be successful, it actually began before they were ever even born, because his wife, Tina, she's actually a former basketball player at Cal State, and she's like 6'2". And he specifically said he married her because hard work is not enough. Your boys have to have the genes to play at the next level. So LaVar put this plan for his sons to be successful into motion way before they were even born, even going as far as to marry a woman who was going to give him the genetics to give his sons, to ensure his sons had the genetics for success. So you can't say that this man wasn't thinking about his sons from day one or even day zero. Now, here's why I actually bring all of this up. I don't know what your guys' relationship status is. I don't know if you have a wife. I don't know if you have kids. I don't know what your status is, but we clearly know what LaVar Ball's status is. Now, I'm going to mention his wife, and I need to clear the air very quickly. There is absolutely no indication that his wife does not like him, does not love him, or wants to divorce him. But for the purposes of this video, I'm going to hypothetically assume that she did or that she does. Now, keep in mind, his wife did have a stroke, and he did tend to his wife, not out of obligation. He loves his wife. But what we're going to do is run a hypothetical, and then we're going to put you guys into that man's shoes. And here's the reason why. I want to know what you guys think about a child being successful as a child and a wife and mother being unhappy and wanting a divorce. We know that 50% of all first-time marriages actually end in divorce. That being the case, I want to know what you guys think about the kids being successful. Here's what I mean. LaVar Ball had a plan for his sons from day one, and he executed that plan. He put his sons in sports. He got them on the best AAU team, got them into a good high school, kept them in the best AAU circuits. He gave them all the best coaching, externally, put them in a good environment, and there was always a check in the box for them to hit. Something for them to do. He kept his sons busy. He kept his sons with goals to achieve and goals to be set, and he kept them on that path. Now, I personally believe that because this man was able to keep his sons busy, he was able to keep his family busy, he was able to keep them always in motion, I personally believe that he was able to keep the devil out of his wife's ear. Keep in mind, there is no indication that that woman is unhappy in any way, shape, or form, and I'm not saying that she is. This is all a hypothetical. What I mean by this is idle time is the devil's time, and an idle mind is the devil's playground. What I mean by that is LaVar had a plan for his kids, and because he kept them constantly in motion, the wife was not able to sit back and say, you know what, I'm bored. Now, if you know anything about divorce statistics, a lot of women, the majority of women don't leave because of abuse or even infidelity. They leave because they're bored. They get tired. They say, I got married too early and I want to get back out there, or their life becomes monotonous. Now, that being the case, LaVar never really gave his wife the room to feel that way. He never really gave his wife the room to, right? Because he had his family always in motion. Kids were always doing something in school. They were always doing something after school, and they had a plan. Man had a plan for his family from day one. There was never a point in time for her to get bored, because she wasn't bored or couldn't get bored, but because the kids were being successful, weren't failing. He was setting goals for the kids, and they were hitting all the goals. Now, the reason that that's important is because if the kids have goals set for them, and they are excited about the goals, and they are achieving the goals, and they are being competitive against other kids, then it's very difficult for the woman to just say, I'm bored, and leave. Why? She doesn't want to look like the bad guy. If a woman simply divorces her husband, she can play any card she wants, but it's a little bit harder to say that you want a divorce when your children are doing magnificent in school and they're being successful in sports and they're being touted as, high draft picks, or, they're looking at college scholarships and things like that. If your kids are the envy of the town, it's very difficult for you to just say, I'm bored or I'm unhappy, and then yank the engine out of your family's car proverbially speaking. On the road to success, you're yanking the engine right out of that car. Now, once again, I have to reemphasize, I am not saying that LaVar's wife wanted to leave in any way, shape, or form. I just want to know, what do you guys think? Do you guys think that because this man was able to keep his family on a constant path, and when I say family, I really do mean like his sons. I don't know what was going on with him and his wife. He's pretty private about that. But do you guys think that he was able to keep his family together because he had a constant plan that kept his family constantly in motion, and his kids were, they were successful by all metrics? They were successful. Maybe you don't have NBA genetics. Let's say you got married and you have a wife and you have kids. You have to do something to keep your kids achieving a goal. If your kids aren't living a busy life, do you personally think that your wife would have any reservations about pulling the plug on the marriage and destroying the family if she got bored? If you had kids and you have those kids doing Kumon classes, they're doing after school classes, they are involved in sports, they're competitive against other kids, they are achieving well in their grades scholastically, they're achieving in sports, they are on the path to success. I don't know because I'm not married, but I want to know what you guys think. Have you ever seen a woman pull the plug on her marriage when the kids are doing very, very well in school? Keep in mind, this is all assuming that the woman is not being abused at all and she's not being cheated on. Have you guys ever seen have you ever seen a woman pull the plug on a marriage when her kids are doing well in school, well in life, and everything's going well, and the kids have a busy schedule, they have sports, they're good at the sports, they have Kumon classes, they have school, they have great grades, they're on their way to getting scholarship in college, the kids are high achieving, and they're constantly got something going on to keep them busy. As a family, you guys have a plan, you're achieving your plans, and you're achieving them at a high level. Have you guys ever seen a woman pull the plug when her family is being very, very successful? And I'm contrasting this thought against the idea that if a woman has a family, she has a husband, she has kids, if the kids are just average and the family has no real direction, they're just going to school, they're just living their life, I think the woman can get bored, and that's when she doesn't feel any pressure or she doesn't feel any shame in pulling the plug on that family, on that marriage. She'll say that the husband was abusive, she'll say that she wasn't happy, so on and so forth. I personally think that this happens when the family has no plan to move forward and achieve any goal. But I want to know what you guys, so let me know what you guys think in the comments. I know this was a bit of a weird video, but this video, as far as I'm concerned, just kind of came from a conversation that I had with a friend of mine regarding LaVar Ball, marriage and divorce. So if this seems kind of random, it is. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Do you think a plan for your family is necessary? Do you think you just need a loving relationship? Do you think that the wife can be kept, I don't want to say in check, but do you think a wife can be prevented from divorcing her husband if the family is successful in terms of the kids achieving their goals? Or do you think it just comes down to the woman herself? Let me know in the comments and I'll get back at you on the next one. Peace.